Hi, my name is Pele Renata and welcome to my channel. Today I would like to show you a project that I made inspired by the products and style of my crafty friend Asia Marquet. Today's project I will start on loose mixed media paper and I will play with my watercolors. Before starting to apply the paint, I decided to use wet on wet technique, so I am spraying some water on the paper. This watercolor palette I assembled on my own with watercolors of various manufacturers. I was just picking colors that I liked and put it in this thin box that I bought separately. And since I wasn't very tidy when making the swatch or keeping the order of my half pans, I can't even tell you the exact colors that I'm using. But anyway, as you will see, I chose this beautiful shade of blue color, but later on I will mix it with some granulating green color and some brown. On camera you will see me applying one layer of paint, but to be honest, after drying the first layer I wasn't satisfied with the intensity of the colors, so off camera I have just repeated the whole process exactly as before. Anyway, I was laying paints quite intuitively, without trying to make a certain shape or form. The idea was just to be abstract and to enjoy. Anyway, soon you can see how the whole thing looks after drying and adding a couple of splatters in the same colors. But now I wanted to bring some various shades and highlights to the colors that I already have. For this I decided to use a NeoColor tool, as they are easier to work with than watercolors, and you can kind of control them easier. To be honest, at this point I didn't really know where I was going with this. I was just trying to enjoy and play with the supplies that I have at hand. And also I knew I wanted some variation in colors, so it would give some highlights and add some depth to the already laid out colors. To the lower portion I added some bright green shade and some yellow. Later on here, as you can see, I thought to add some blue, but soon I changed my mind and added white instead. But then again, I wasn't really satisfied with that either completely, so I just added some yellow again instead. I wasn't adding these colors randomly. Instead, I actually tried to follow the patterns that have formed naturally when laying down the watercolor. Anyway, we can say this was just a little bit of playing around and experimenting, but to be honest, at the end I really enjoyed the result as well. If you are wondering why am I occasionally touching that wet wipe, it is because it helps me smudge out the NeoColors better. I mean, I know I could have blended them using just some water, but I was going for more subtle effect and more controlled effect as well. After playing with the colors, I decided to add some stenciling to my background, and I chose to work with this beautiful stencil designed by Asia Marquet, which is called Peculiar Kind of Rainbow. And through it I am applying the Distress Oxide ink in ground espresso color. Now this stencil pattern is really beautiful, but I wanted to emphasize it even more. So I am using a white acrylic marker to add highlights to certain areas of the stenciled pattern. And I really think this helps the design stand out even more. But while I had my acrylic marker at hand, I used it also to add a couple of white splatters. Now after this I wanted to do some stamping, and again I chose one of the stamp set designed by Asia Marquet, and it is called Science I Don't Get. This stamp set has a lot of little numbers, equations, chemical symbols, which are used to stamp only in certain areas of the stenciled pattern. Hope you can see what I mean here. But now again I wanted to do some more work to emphasize this beautiful pattern. So I just took a colored pencil in a black color to add shading to a certain area of the stencil pattern. And as you will see very soon, after this I took again a white color, a simple colored pencil, and added some more subtle highlights. I really enjoy these kind of projects when you just play with the supplies you have and experiment how far you can stretch them, what can you do which you didn't try yet. It's really fun, and actually all what I like about mixed media and art journaling. Now, to be honest, at this point I planned my paper to be laid horizontally, as you can see it on the screen, and my original idea was to use these three fine gentlemen, which come from the Sizzix and Tim Holtz die set called Gentleman. But as you will see soon, I changed my mind because something just wasn't sitting right with me, and instead I decided to change the orientation of my paper to vertical one and decided to use only one of these die cuts. Now, as you can see, I am adhering the brown cutout with the black, and the reason for that is that I wanted to add some more dimension but also to give some natural shadow. And time for a quote. My sentiment comes from another product designed by Asia Marquet, and if I'm speaking honestly, I think it was made for this project of mine. So these sentiment sheets are called Really Silly Words, and have a lot of fun and clever sentiments to use for your project. As usual, in the description area down below, I will put the list of all the products that I have used for this project, so you can check them out too. Now, as I didn't plan to add too much dimension to my project, I am adhering the elements using Art by Marlene sticky multi-glue. And I will add some kind of a frame to my page by freehand drawing lines with the black Posca marker. And that's about it for this project. I hope you had fun, and even more I hope that I managed to inspire you. Have a nice day. Bye!